I own 32 coffee mugs, but I only use 4 of them.
Hey, fun fans, it's We Enjoy, back with our Jurassic Attack. What was once a park is now a whole world. Jurassic World is our main event today. We are the Mattitude Eric. I am Matt Fowler. Say hello, Eric Goldman.
Hello, everybody. How's it going?
And you are feeling okay, you told me ahead of the record button here.
I said I swapped some COVID for some back pain. I am negative on the COVID test now. I didn't get hit that hard, thankfully, by it. I never felt that sick. I think I am very thankful to be vaccinated and boosted again. But then the universe giveth and taketh away. So I got through that, and then I immediately effed up my back. So.
And you're just remembering now that you need a backiotomy. And as we know, because we did bring this up recently on the podcast, your back has been forever fucked up since middle school because of
Steve Milan stealing my baseball hat and the ensuing struggle for said baseball hat.
Gentle nemesis Steve Milan.
Yes.
The soft
gentleman nemesis.
I'm just saying the gentleman nemesis, the soft antagonist for Eric. He wasn't like a full-on bully. He was just a guy who was wildly bad at pranks. And they always involved him just taking something that you wanted to own or eat and keeping it for himself. All right. So yeah, we're doing Jurassic World. We've now moved on to the second trilogy in anticipation of Dominion coming out. And yeah, I think Eric and I are a little bit aligned with this movie. Or there's parts that irk, but also overall, it's sort of, there's some big fun moments, and sort of it's an interesting and fun extension of what the original movies were. It's certainly better than 3 as far as like the direction they were going. But also the first movie with first and last movie with a fully functioning dino park.
Right. It's kind of like how there's only one Friday the 13th movie where there are campers at a camp.
Actual kids in peril.
Right.
At summer
this
camp.
is the only Jurassic movie where there is a theme park operating where dinosaurs break out. Yes.
All right. But first we'll talk about some entertainment news here. And thank you to everyone ahead of time here for joining our Hudson Hawk tier on Patreon. For $4 a month, you can get our bonus episodes commercial free, as well as our regular weekly episodes commercial free. And you can go there. And so I'm going to start before we get into, actually, it's a lot of trailer talk this week. But so I'm going to start with one email only because it was basically David wrote in on Gmail. So that's weenjoypodcast@gmail.com about The Lost World. And so this is something we already did a few weeks ago. So I wanted to read it and get it out, because some people don't listen weekly. They're a couple weeks behind. So David writes in, "Hi, Mattitude Eric. I wanted to recommend 1991's Bruce Willis movie. Oh, wait. I think you guys may have talked about this one. But that's right. It's even Patreon tier now. I had just finished watching The Lost World after hearing the episode talking about the third act and how the timeline is confusing. I totally agree. I've never really noticed it before. When Hammond's nephew is talking to the reporters, he said tonight, and as he was being informed about the boat, he wanted to thank everyone for coming to the wee hours of the morning. Mm-hmm. So the last statement can explain the sleeping family, but the first statement can explain the populated downtown area. I couldn't believe I'd never noticed that before. Also, real sad part about the third act is seeing the Chevron station where the gas was $1.15 a gallon. 1997 prices. Thank you for everything. And I just signed up for Hudson Hawk on Patreon. Thank you, David, for becoming one of our Catch the Hawkers. And yeah, so obviously the Jurassic World Dominion episode will be one of those bonus eps.
Sometimes when you see gas in movies, sometimes like a new movie set in the past will purposely show the gas price as a like.
Be like, what kind of gas are we talking? Are we talking about Woody Woodpecker farting his own theme song?
No, Matt. I'm talking about a gas station and the prices. So sometimes like there'll be a movie set in the past that are like, oh, look at this. It shows how different things were. But then there's just movies like The Lost World that were just filmed when, gas was a lot cheaper. It just makes you go,
yes, that's
oh.
true. Yeah, things and prices and the passing of time. So let's get into the trailers. Not a lot of newsy news this week. Eric and I have big events to go to this weekend, just in time for Eric's bad back to treat him even worse. You're going to Star Wars Celebration. I'm going to Double or Nothing. It's just going to be an avalanche of awesome things, Star Wars and wrestling. Mm-hmm. Okay. But let's talk about Mission Impossible, a franchise that is near and dear to the We Enjoy marathoning. Mission Impossible Dark Reckoning Part 1, the trailer, well, I should say the teaser trailer, dropped.
For a movie that is scheduled to open 14 months from now.
Yes. We'll definitely see a full trailer at some point, but these Mission Impossible movies are so visually oriented and so spectacular to watch that like just a teaser with mostly action shots and sequences and exotic locations and forests and deserts and cities, it's like it does so much. Like this is such a goddamn amazing franchise, as we have already done. Did we do the Mission Impossible franchise on We Enjoy, or was it a We Enjoy Wrestling thing?
Oh crap, I think it was a wrestling thing.
I think it goes back to We Enjoy Wrestling.
Yeah, no, I think it was.
Suffice to say, like we did with Saw and what was the other one? Fast and Furious. By the time this movie comes out in 14 months, I'll compile all the previous Mission Impossible movie recaps into like one 3-hour something.
Right.
A melange to just
one Stranger Things episode size.
One Stranger Things season 4 finale long episode podcast.
It's interesting because look, I freaking love the Mission Impossible movies. I think they're great. My favorite action series. But of course, they were built originally to be very standalone, and it's only in the recent ones when they started to get a little more serialization, a little more like sort of
kind of with Macquarie, right? And
with Macquarie, yeah. Even though he'll claim he's them to be like totally standalone, but they're not really. He had the same villain come back in 5 and 6, but this one, because what we've heard, they haven't officially put this in the ads, but we hear that 7 and 8 are a 2-part finale to the series, and it plays like that because like the sort of moodiness of it, like the shots with like the slowed down music, and there is multiple references to the first movie that all kind of make you feel like the beginning of the end is in this trailer.
How do we feel about the part 1 though? I think I already bitched about this. I hate it. It's such a clunky title because you already have a colon and a hyphen, and now you're adding a part 1. Just give 8 a different title. I keep hoping it'll be like Infinity War or Across the Spider-Verse that were originally announced as part 1, part 2. I mean, there's definitely time for them to change their minds and get rid of the part 1
Yeah, I was hoping they'd change their mind before this teaser, but they didn't. But again, they have a long time. But there is the fight on the train, top of a train, which is an obvious visual call out.
It shows Ethan and the character Morales. Morales plays. Yeah.
And
the villain of the film. Who did he replace?
Nicholas Hoult.
Interesting. Okay.
Because of the COVID delays, Nicholas Hoult was not available anymore when they had to delay the movie's production. And then the really funny deep cut one that not a bunch of us, but a few of us on Twitter were really excited about, which is Ethan's close-up magic that he only did in the first movie. Yeah, where he was like,
then of course the biggest thing from the first movie is Kitteridge, Henry Czerny,
and a scene meant to evoke them having their big tents, across a table, sit down.
So good. I feel like I guess maybe Ghost Protocol was the first one to fully embrace the serialization, right? Because of the end tag with Michelle Monaghan.
Yes.
Right, like it's like the callback, because they could have just made a reference. It's like, oh yeah, they broke up or whatever, and like never showed her again. And obviously she came back in an even bigger way in Fallout. A movie
and again, Macquarie, who's uncredited on Ghost Protocol, but he was the one who insisted you can't just have her be dead off screen, which was the original plan. And sort of was the one who pushed for her to come back at the end. So yes,
well, you know, and the movies deal with a lot of like, you know, international espionage and MacGuffins and secret tech and stuff like that. So the serialization isn't like no. It's not like a full investment.
No.
It's definitely made the movies and the whole series stronger.
Yes,
having that connection and the relationship that he has with like Benji and you know, the other members of his teams, the one that do return. It makes it feel like a living, breathing story, which is always best. And this just looks spectacular, you know, and with the stunt with the motorcycle and the parachute and all that stuff.
The stunt that I saw someone tweet about, like, at this point with the Mission Impossible movies, we expect, you know, an insane stunt, but also it's like, because it's a Mission Impossible movie, because it's Tom Cruise, it's like now we await the behind the scenes footage of multiple takes of him
the
doing
making
that,
of this thing,
versus the green
where
screen,
he does it himself,
you know, on some footage,
and also the addition of Haley Atwell.
Yep.
And which is awesome, and she gets a lot of FaceTime in that trailer, a lot of action scenes with Tom Cruise, and then Palm Clementine
seen briefly,
but then the return also of a lot of people.
But Ilsa gets two rad moments: A, Ilsa with an eye patch, and B, Ilsa with a sword fighting Issa Morales on a bridge.
Yeah. So they're definitely giving her due as well. And then there are new faces. We already mentioned a couple. There's also apparently, we see Carrie Elwes. But there's also Indira Varma, there's Rob Delaney, Mark Gatiss.
What's his face we see from Agent Carter a couple times? Not
Shea
really
Wiggum. Shea Wiggum.
Yeah, we see Shea Wiggum. We see him with a gas mask on, looking ominous. So yeah, good stuff.
Good stuff, as the B-52s once sang about. Let's talk about so very soon after we got the teaser for Thor: Love and Thunder, we get the trailer for Thor: Love and Thunder, because
Matt, Twitter told me they forgot to promote it. They weren't gonna, because there was no trailer and the movie was coming. Like, what? Come on, Marvel! Like, get with it! Like, why are you not promoting this movie?
I just imagine people running around an office looking for an old VHS tape that says Thor trailer. Like, where is it? Like,
we forgot.
We got it. Oh my god! And they're like, "Well, play it." And they're like, "We have to rewind." Like,
instead of like the calculated plan of a studio that makes a lot of huge movies and wanted Doctor Strange to come out first before they went huge on this one.
None of these people ever complained that Netflix doesn't like promote any of their shit. Like, they release their trailers a week out, and no one's like, yeah. So,
although we have an exception to that in a moment, but yeah, new Thor trailer, which kind of a sequel. It was one of those trailers that functions as a sequel to the first one, because we get much more of, like, you know, we don't understand exactly why, if it's going to be like the comics, but that Jane has powers, has the hammer, and we get our first look at Gore the God Butcher.
So it looks awesome. I liked the pattern that goes on. I think it kind of started in Guardians of the Galaxy, but really obviously with Thor Ragnarok, which is that everything's silly, except the villain's the only one not in on the joke.
Right.
It's like in walks the serious thing. And Ronan was kind of like that in Guardians, but then obviously Hela, and now Gore the God Butcher, where it's like entering into this world of insanity and just being sort of the straight man or woman, if you will. But it looks a lot of fun. And this time, instead of just playing Sweet Child of Mine, they sort of orchestrated it.
You love when they do that.
I do love when they do that. I don't love it when it's not a part of the movie itself, which is sometimes
they're 2/3 there. Let's see.
A,
good song. B, good song becomes orchestrated, but the third part that not enough payoff for you is.
I do feel like they did well. It's in Ragnarok, the Led Zeppelin song, in a big moment. They used that to promote the movie too, right?
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's a good indicator that this will be in the movie at some point. It doesn't necessarily mean it has to be in the end action scene, but I would like to hear it.
I'm trying to remember the name of the song that was used to first announce Love and Thunder at Comic-Con 2019. Was it a Dio song? Anyway, it was really fun, and I hope it makes it into the movie too. Rainbow in the Dark.
I was going to say the only Dio song I know is Rainbow in the Dark.
Yeah, so Google, if you guys don't know that song, look it up on YouTube.
Like a rainbow in the dark.
That was like the title reveal at Comic-Con, and it was great. And then the other thing about Gore, just it's being Christian Bale, it's kind of like, that's really cool because he's great. Also, the Gore, this happens all the time with comic book movies where reveals happen via toys because that stuff is very hard to keep under wraps. And people thought he was going to look a lot goofier than he did because the toy made him look a lot more just like a plain white bald guy. He looks a lot cooler in the movie. So guys, don't judge by the toy.
It sounds like this is the toy's fault at this point.
Right.
I in my past life managing Pete's Coffee and Tea shops in the greater Los Angeles area, the one I managed down on Main Street in Santa Monica, one of my employees was in a band and, had a fair amount of success, played a Coachella at one point, as one of the tiny fonted bands.
Yeah.
And the band's name was Dios. And Ronnie James Dio sued them after they already had one album under the name Dios. And just like it's too similar. People, obviously, this band's very musically different than Dio. But yeah, so they had to change the name to Dios Malos. And that's my Dio story.
I'm sure they were very different, but I can also see why that lawsuit would kind of almost automatically happen with the name.
I just think it's petty. All right, let's see. Let's talk about. So speaking of Netflix, as you just said, this is an exception to their usual MO, which is not really promoting things this far out, but they are promoting because it's got big stars and it's the Russo brothers directing, and also
it's the most expensive movie they ever made. Apparently,
is that right?
That's what the internet
crazy
tells
considering
me.
How much they overpay for everything.
Yeah, but I do think there's a huge. Not only do you have two big stars here, and I understand that Gosling and Evans, arguably,
they're not like box office blockbusters unless it's a Marvel movie,
right? But I think the Russo brothers get a lot more than the Red Notice director, so that's I think you're balancing here that you have two big stars, not the biggest, but two big stars and two directors who probably can get paid more than anyone who aren't Spielberg and Cameron right now. So that combines to.
I'm going to look because it says 200 million and it says Red Notice is 200 million.
Half that is probably the salaries because that's how they do this. It's like everyone gets up front because there's not going to be
No, I get that, but I'm saying like they both have the same budget. You're just saying they spent more on the movie than the salaries.
Oh, I don't know. It's listed as the most expensive, so I think it might come down to like 210 million versus whatever. I don't know if that's even 100% true, but that's the word on it.
Pittance. So the Gray Man trailer, the action looks great. There's some wiseacre lines of dialogue. What makes me most excited about this, not just the stars, because it's Ryan Gosling and Ana de Armas and a bunch of people that are a lot of fun. Chris Evans, obviously, with his mustache and his haircut. Jessica Henwick, Alfre Woodard, Billy Bob Thornton. But it's written also, or at least punched up by Marcus and McFeely.
Right.
So, and the other things that the Russo brothers have done or produced, like basically the band's back together. Like the trailer is heavily hyping them as the people who did Winter Soldier and Civil War and Endgame, etc. So it's not just the Russo brothers, it's the writers too. So that's a good indicator. The action looks really good. We've got Ryan Gosling, I guess, playing CIA mercenary, and then he somehow gets Red Noticed. I don't know how you use that term. I don't know what that means even. I didn't watch that movie, but anyway, his bosses are after him and they hire Chris Evans, who is, send a killer to catch a killer. And then Ana de Armas is the woman. I don't know what she does. But they release character posters for all three of them. So
she's also like fighting in the trailer.
Yeah, she fights and she drives and she's untraceable. I can't remember what the other two are, but like he's unstoppable, he's unbeatable, and she's untraceable or something. I don't know.
It's a sort of classic story. Obviously, it's like any kind of like Bourne type, like the world's greatest assassin goes rogue. They have to stop him. Except they're making it a two-hander because it's like, what if what's his name? Who played the guy who was after Bourne in the first Bourne, who starred in other things?
Clive Owen.
It's like, what if Clive Owen was the co-lead and played by, an equally big star at the time?
And also like wasn't just sort of like quiet and stoic.
Right.
Assassin. He was like he had quips. You know what I mean?
Yeah, give him the quips. So it looks really fun. And look, there's a reason I haven't seen Red Notice, and there's a reason I know I'll watch this, because it is that weird thing. We're talking about $200 million movies with big likable stars, but one of them, I watched the trailer and I think that doesn't feel like a real movie. This one I think feels like a real movie. I'm not saying it feels like the most original movie. It just looks like a cool movie.
Well, okay, Send a Killer to Catch a Killer was not invented by Demolition Man.
No.
Because we're literally going to talk about it in our main event and the climax of our main event.
We are, yeah. And how crowd pleasing it is. So yeah, no, it looks really cool. And we talked just last week about how Netflix is considering really and truly doing theatrical releases, like possible like 45-day exclusive theatrical releases that would be in all the major chains. If that happens, it would not happen until later this year. And Knives Out 2 is one of the movie.
This isn't even getting like that 1 week.
Oh, it is. It is.
It is good, because
this is getting the 1 week theaters only, but only not many theaters. But I will see it. I do
want to see. I'd rather wait. Yeah, I'd much rather see.
I saw Army of the Dead that way because
I did too, and I regret that. But I just wanted to see something. Like it was the only thing out that week I wanted to see. Oh
yeah, that was early, and that was very early in the theaters reopened. Yeah,
and I was like, I guess I'll see this. He got me, Netflix. Wasn't great. Okay, let's move on to the other piece of email that we got. Or actually, this was just a Patreon write-in. So yeah,
not just a Patreon write-in, Matt.
Not just a Patreon write-in. Oh, before we completely leave entertainment news, I just wanted to mention this headline. We don't have to dig deeper into the story, which is that Samuel L. Jackson will play Chris Pratt's dad in Garfield, which is an amazing headline.
Prophecy.
that the seventh seal has finally arrived. The end times are upon us. It's literally Garfield's cat dad. It's his cat dad. It's not John, which was my dream, is that if Samuel L. Jackson played John.
That would be pretty good.
I mean, I'll take normal. I'll take anything, but like
he plays Lyman, Odie's original owner, who vanishes because John murders him off panel.
Well, that's how you get dogs you want. Right. Just murder the owner. Okay. So we enjoy podcast at gmail.com. You can always write in there, the old-fashioned electronic mail way, or you can message us on Patreon as a Patreon subscriber, either the super fun fan tier, which gives you commercial-free episodes of our weekly rundowns, or the Hudson Hawk tier, which you can get all of our episodes, including the bonus episodes, all commercial-free. And Sam writes in on Patreon.
Oh, but before you say that, I'm gonna do one more pause. I should have said this a second before you did what you just said. Only that this is not my official good thing to enjoy. We're not there yet. But because you mentioned Garfield, I just want to say to people, if you have
Tale of Two Kitties, is this what you're recommending?
Defunct Land, which is a YouTube channel which is great in general about theme park stuff from the past, just this week put out the bizarre Garfield Dark Ride episode. And the title says it all, but there's way more to this story than you'd ever expect, including a lot of sex talk because of this particular ride and the attraction it had to certain people.
You mean like people having sex on the ride because it's a dark ride? Oh, okay.
Yes.
I was like, Garfield saying sexy thing.
No. Garfield was incidental to the sex, but it was part of it. Anyway,
so says you.
Maybe for some it was a aphrodisiac. Anyway, it's a really good video, and you should watch Defunctland, Bizarre Garfield Dark Ride. Go with Sam's message.
So Nick Fury is playing Star-Lord's father in Garfield, but not John. Which is
so that was Samuel L. Jackson sent the message to clarify.
So Sam on Patreon wrote in, I've been enjoying the Jurassic Park rewatch. I forgot how ludicrous bridges this series becomes. I remember watching Jurassic Park 3 in theaters when I was 10 on opening weekend and laughing at the ending back then when those pteranodons fly away into the clouds. How is Alan, or anyone else for that matter, not completely freaking out? As if it's some sort of bittersweet ending like in Parasite. Are we supposed to be depressed for Dr. Alan Grant's decision to basically say, not my circus, not my monkeys, to dinosaurs roaming the earth? And then the John Williams score kicks in. Ugh, it drives me insane. Speaking of insanity, ever since I saw Sam Neill in Andrei Zulawski's Possession, I don't trust Alan Grant's paternal energy for 1 second. I keep thinking he's going to turn into a weird tentacle creature and making out with Jeff Goldblum. Shakma, Sam, P.S. I'm making a miso soup run. Can I get you anything? Miso soup is a big channel surfing callback.
It is.
I don't know that movie Possession, but it sounds a lot like shunting to me. Eric has now won with the shunting,
which no one else is going to get that reference.
One of our listeners will understand what the shunting.
What I wanted is when I see Alan Grant on screen, I want to ask him if he reads Sutter Kane, because that's the definitive Sam Neill performance for me. It's funny with Alan's role in that movie and why is he not freaking out at the end. I think I mentioned on the show last week how early versions of Jurassic Park 3, which went through, it's like the most rewritten of the series, had Alan having like snuck back onto the island and like living there at the beginning.
Yeah.
And then I kind of dug deeper and saw that there was at least one draft that came back at the end. It was like he was going to stay at the end. Like everyone, like they get off the island, but he's like, this is where I belong, and goes back off into the into the bushes.
With Laura Dern and Sam Neill returning for this final movie, they a couple of publications have written about the age gap between Grant and Sattler, but I don't know if it's an age gap between Grant and Sattler. It's definitely an age gap between Neill and Dern,
right? Which is a very Hollywood thing, yes.
Which is so I don't know if it's necessarily something to be up in arms about. Obviously, there are 20-year age gaps in relationships all the time, but nobody brings up the age gap in the relationship between Cher and Nicolas Cage because he's playing older in Moonstruck, right? We already talked about this on our Moonstruck recap. He was super young, but he's playing older. That's not to say that her character is not older than him, but he's definitely playing older than Nicolas Cage, the actor, was at the time.
Yes.
And so if you had asked me back when I saw Jurassic Park, like, how old is Alan Grant? I would have said 35. That would have been my guess.
Mm-hmm.
You asked me how old Sattler was, I would have said
35.
28. No, I would have said like 28 or 30. Younger than him, but not that much younger.
Not that much younger, yeah.
So Neill was 42. Dern was 23. So it's like a 19, 20-year age gap. But again, I think the characters are closer in age than that. I think he's playing younger. She's playing older because that's just how they look. Like, he looks younger. Also, if that's the case, we should bring up the first thing I ever saw Sam Neill in, and you and I saw this movie together in our day of 3 movies, not our day of 4 movies, our day of 3 movies, when we saw Dead Calm, where he was the husband of Nicole Kidman. Were they closer in age? I don't know. I haven't looked it up yet. She seems super young.
But I feel I haven't seen that movie forever, but I feel like it was a little more plot driven, that she was like a bit of a trophy wife. Like I feel like there was a little bit, at least insinuation there, with like when Billy Zane kind of comes into the picture and stuff, and when he's younger, he's a little I think with Jurassic Park, I totally agree with you. It's like the characters are probably just written to be much more similar in age. It's worth pointing out that of course it is a Hollywood casting trope. It's just it's part of the thing of like older men are just allowed to be like sexy and virile on screen, and older, when I say older women, I just mean not super young women have to like be like a mom immediately. They don't get to do that. So we've had for decades and decades, like, Sean Connery and all these actors who were constantly paired up with actresses 20 to 30 years younger than them on screen.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And then
it is still much rarer in the opposite, to the point that I was very happy, say, watching The Lost City, that it's like, Sandra Bullock, I think she's like 15 years older than Channing Tatum or something like that.
Yeah.
Also, and it's not a plot point. It's just, it's fine, because they're two sexy, funny people. And then,
but also this is her opportunity. Those are the actors' ages in real life. She's playing younger.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, she's playing younger. She looks great. She's looking, if you showed her to someone on the street, they wouldn't guess that. Same way, I wouldn't guess Sam Neill was 42 when he was in Jurassic Park. They're just playing younger. And I looked it up. He is exactly 20 years older than Nicole Kidman as well. Okay. Let's get into our good things to enjoy. Next week is obviously Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. Not the best, not the brightest, but
I'm kind of excited because I've only seen this one once.
But still, we're in the realm of movies now pulling in like $1.5 billion. These movies, like Jurassic World, was wildly successful. Fallen Kingdom, even though it sort of got shit on, still made like a billion three, which ain't hay, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
So Jurassic World, $150 million budget, thereabouts, pulled in like $1.67 billion. So mega hits. And what's your good thing to enjoy this week, Eric? Oh wait, are we still just doing like Fallen Kingdom? Let me see what you wrote here. Rent or buy. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we're still only able to rent.
The
or buy.
world era is a rent or buy. Oh, and then I added this. This is a little extra credit homework if people want to, if they haven't, because if you haven't seen Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom at all, or if you have but you didn't watch, after you watch Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, maybe you want to watch Battle of Big Rock, which is like a 10-minute short that came out in 2018. That is like an official Jurassic World short that is like a follow-up to Fallen Kingdom in an interesting way.
Oh, I haven't even seen this, so I will have to watch it as well.
So that's on YouTube. It's just a thing I think we could mention briefly next week when we talk about Fallen Kingdom. So watch Fallen Kingdom first, and then watch Battle at Big Rock on YouTube. There you go.
All right. Eric, what is your good thing to enjoy for this week that you could recommend to our listeners?
My good thing to enjoy this week is Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers, which, I know the way these things work now is some people immediately watch this Friday and they've moved on with their lives. But some will not have this debuted this past Friday on Disney Plus. I was very sad, Matt, because I watched the screener of this movie and I quite enjoyed it. Trish and I were going to go to the premiere. They did like a big fancy premiere at the El Capitan. And I was excited because she hadn't seen it yet. She loves Chip and Dale. I knew she'd like the movie. And this movie was not going to play theatrically at all. So I was like, oh, cool. We get to see it the only time in the theater at the El Capitan. And then I got COVID. And we didn't go to anything. But she still liked the movie when we watched it at home on Friday. Anyway, if you have not seen it, it's the new Disney Plus. It's not quite a continuation of the old series. It is a meta sort of dissection of the idea of the revival of an old property, because it is Akiva Schaffer from The Lonely Island directing it, and Andy Samberg and John Mulaney are voicing Chip and Dale. And it is it turns Chip and Dale into a TV series within the movie.
Yeah. So the original show that you watched in the early 90s was the TV show these two starred in.
These two actors
decades
Chip
ago.
And Dale. Yes. And it's very Roger Rabbit in that it exists in a live action animation hybrid world where animated characters that we know are on-screen actors playing roles. To the point that I even asked Akiva Schaffer, is this set in the same universe as Roger Rabbit? Because there's some telltale signs it probably is, and he couldn't say 100% it was, probably because he's not allowed to, but I'd say it is. Anyway, this is a really funny movie, and I know we're at a point now where it's not new to be meta, certainly, and it's also not new to be a, hey, look at that movie, where like they, references, in-jokes, cameos, especially
so I reviewed this for IGN. I also really enjoyed this movie and I recommend it, but also we are in an era now where things like Ready Player One or Space Jam 2, where it's like, all these IPs just get smashed together in a giant battle royale, and
right,
you're used to seeing characters from different studios and different companies like next to each other. Back when Roger Rabbit came out, it was like a huge thing. It was also a sort of a lull in the era of animation, and people were giving up their characters for on the cheap.
Because no one was really doing anything with them. Yeah. I mean, I should say of the two movies you just mentioned, Space Jam 2 was all Warner Brothers. It just, they didn't care what kind of movie it was. So that's why it was like Clockwork Orange characters versus Ready Player One, which did have characters from multiple studios in it. So it's not like that's like a brand new thing to do. So it all comes down to, is it done well? And is it funny? Because this is a comedy. And I say it is done well, and it is very funny. And it's a funny and clever movie. I laugh consistently throughout, and that the cameos, some of them I think are just, they're done in very clever ways, and some of them legitimately surprised me, as far as not just that they got the sign off to do it, but I will give Disney credit for like letting some stuff in there that people might not expect Disney to necessarily let in.
And also they have fun with different styles of animation. And that includes some of the characters it brings in, and they even reference like older, Uncanny Valley times of animation, like Polar Express and stuff like that. But
And even like the trailer shows, like the fact that Dale is now a CGI character because he's gotten like a digital facelift, sort of just like mocking the fact that all the characters we love from the past come back and now they're CGI because they have to have like their modern look.
Like Woody Woodpecker farting his own theme song.
Like Woody
Woodpecker, which was the only thing this movie was missing. The only thing this movie was missing.
That should have been like the "That's all, folks" at the end.
Yeah,
of,
just the sign off. Exactly. Yeah, great funny movie. Andy Samberg, John Mulaney.
Mm-hmm. And I don't want to like be like, and then this part and this part and this part, but the two little morsel things I'll mention to people just to entice them if they feel like, I don't know, is that there are two things that made me laugh in this movie. And one is Dale taking off his earbuds. And this is my favorite joke of the whole movie. It's amazing.
This is my favorite joke of the whole movie. Don't tell this to people.
Okay, I won't tell it to people. But what he's listening to is even if you don't know what it is, it's funny. And then it's the funnier the more you know.
That's the one thing that has really stuck with me is that joke.
Will you, Matt, give me permission to say one visual, just a cameo that's just the character that we pan by?
You don't need my permission except for my favorite joke. Everything else is up for grabs.
I'm going to say one other. There's a lot of cameos. Some of them have big roles. One of them is a pretty like 3-scene role, and it's hysterical what they do with this particular character. That's the one I'm not going to talk about, though. I'm just going to say that at one moment in this movie, for a second, you see Randy Marsh from South Park. And it's just funny because it's like Randy Marsh from South Park and Chippendale movie. But it's also, that's where I'm like, I'm glad that Disney were good sports because A, they had to go to obviously to Paramount and get permission for him to be there. But B, if you think about how Disney has been portrayed on South Park, especially with Randy Marsh and Mickey Mouse. If you watch the COVID storylines, they're not nice to them. So I'm glad that Disney was like, whatever. Yes, you can have your Randy Marsh in this movie when Akiva or one of the writers suggested it. So anyway, everyone is a good sport, and that makes for good comedy. And you should watch Chippendale Rescue Rangers. I forgot, Matt, to say my quick physical
I know
media.
Captain Physical Media failed us. I thought you were going to start with that. You can wrap up with it.
I'll wrap up with that and say that movie that we did last year, we did this whole series, but there is a new 4K disc for Candyman from Shout Factory. And it's freaking great. It looks better than ever. Like just the movie itself, like visually, it was really cool to see it. Even though Shout Factory put out a really good Blu-ray a few years ago, now it looks better than ever in 4K. I was really impressed. They already had a crap ton of extras because that's what Shout Factory does. They like collect all the old ones and they make new ones. So they're all back on this, like multiple commentaries, multiple interviews. But I actually think it's cool that they have a new interview with Vanessa Williams just because she was notable by her absence. Like they got everyone else in previous iterations, and all that stuff is here.
Oh, they didn't have her. Okay.
They didn't have her. And now they can have her talk about coming back on the new one too. So that was cool. Anyway, yeah, just a really great movie that I think has, aged like a fine wine. We've talked about that. We talked about it last year, and well worth the upgrade to 4K.
What a segue into I was gonna have something to say, but now I have to go right into my thing because of your segue. Welcome to another edition of did Matt recommend this movie already on A Good Thing to Enjoy, or does he have old brain? Does he have long COVID brain?
Sure,
does he just have a general cerebral fog that haunts him at all times? Probably.
All of the above.
All of the above. Yeah. This is as with any multiple choices, always an all the above answer. My good thing to enjoy is Upgrade, which in the very least, you and I have talked about.
We both agree. We have talked about this on a podcast.
Whether it was this one,
I don't think it was part of this official segment. Oh, yes.
So I'm recommending Upgrade, which is only rentable or purchasable at this point. It is not easily streaming anywhere, but should you get the chance, I definitely recommend it. It's from 2018. It is written and directed by Lee Whannell. Whannell? How do you say that? What do you know?
I had to know this when I interviewed him, but now I'm forgetting. It's been a couple years.
Okay. Well, good. Well, this is the second movie he's directed because he did Insidious Chapter 3, but Lee Whannell,
Invisible Man.
And then right after this he did Invisible Man. in 2020. But you know Lee Winnell really well because he co-created and wrote Saw, and then went on to write the other Saw movies, or at least 2 and 3.
Yeah.
And then worked with James Wan, who is his partner, and
longtime friend and collaborator,
with Dead Silence, and also, so again, the two of them created the Saw franchise and the Insidious franchise. So they're doing pretty well for themselves. Upgrade is sort of I guess a genre detour for him, as far as that it's sci-fi and not horror.
Right. And
it is sort of it's almost RoboCop-esque in a way, and it's about a man,
RoboCop-esque, Crow-esque, and Venom-esque.
And Venom it came out at the same time as Venom, and I wasn't the only one who drew parallels to it, because Logan Marshall Green, the star of Upgrade, has long been compared to Tom Hardy because they look alike.
And this is how I know we talked about this. Again, this is why it was not an official recommendation, but we were talking about Venom, and I think Upgrade came up probably
as the better Venom movie.
Yes,
because it was the better movie.
No, because it is the better Venom movie.
Basically, it's a story of a mechanic who lives in a near future world where there are sort of computer technology, human enhancements. So people walk around a little lightly cyborged, and he and his wife get into a car accident, but then he realizes that it's like a hit. It's a hit on his wife. She's killed, and he winds up paralyzed, and he is approached by a sort of a reclusive, renowned tech innovator, played by what's his name? I don't know this guy. He's very Harry Osborn in Amazing Spider-Man-esque. Harry Gilbertson plays this guy, and who offers him a sort of a new lease on life by giving him an AI chip called STEM that you could give to a human, and it helps control your motor functions. So you can like get it implanted in you, and you can walk and use your arms and stuff. But our hero, what's his name? Gray, finds that this thing starts speaking to him.
Gray Man.
And offers him a chance at revenging on the people who killed his wife. And so he goes to this AI system inside him, helps him track down the culprits, and then can actually also, frighteningly, take over his body and fight for him. And everything sort of goes awry. It's a revenge story, but there are twists and turns. I won't give anything away, but it's very entertaining. It's very well done. It's a small, contained sci-fi movie that's just kind of perfect in its own way. And Logan Marshall Green, who always sort of goes, I think he's a little, you blink and you miss him in a certain movies. Like he was in
people would know him best for Spider-Man Homecoming.
He was the first Shocker in Homecoming.
Yeah.
He also has sort of an unceremonious death in Prometheus, another sci-fi movie. But he is great physical acting in this movie as somebody who has to move, but react to his own limbs moving on their own. Like, so while his head is acting differently than his body, you know what I mean? Like, not unlike some of the things Bruce Campbell does in the Evil Dead series when his various parts of his body are possessed. This is like your entire body's possessed, and you sort of have to go with it. But Upgrade is my good thing to enjoy for this week. I wish it was easily streaming for people. It probably will once again one day. I just don't know when.
I really enjoyed this movie. It's a cool movie that, as we said, there's some shades of RoboCop with like the origin, shades of The Crow with the origin, and then also a lot of Venom because it's his relationship with this AI who has a voice, who we hear kind of fighting over the body. But Logan Marshall Green, I do agree Tom Hardy is great in the Venom movies, even though I don't think the movies are great. But Logan Marshall Green is great in it, and it's a much better movie than Venom. There is a TV series continuation. I think it would be set in the world of that has been in development for a while with Lee Winnell and Blumhouse producing. So we'll see. And I'll also mention, Matt, and I'm sure this is all came up at the time we talked about this movie before, and Logan Marshall Green and what people would know him from, because I remember telling you, but I'm going to tell you again, that he is also, to me, he'll always be from the OC, where I mentioned he is the person shot in the original scene that the Lonely Island would turn into a famous meme, where Imogen Heap's hide and seek play, what you say, and he turns back dramatically. He is the person being shot by Misha Barton that would become a very popular meme years later.
Eric.
Yeah.
More importantly than that, I can't believe you don't remember this. First of all, Logan Marshall Green was on a very good short-lived Cinemax series back when Cinemax was doing its Knicks and its Banshees and stuff, called Quarry. And it only lasted a season. He was very good on that. But he was a cast member on the equally short-lived series. Actually, no, it lasted 2 seasons. So it went on a little longer than Quarry. A little show called Dark Blue.
That's right. Yes.
A lead actor in a restaurant having a little soup,
which which you mentioned on this episode. Well, it was in an email, but yes.
And also one of my favorite pictures of when I visited the set of Dark Blue. Look, I know my miso soups. When I visited the set of Dark Blue, he shot off a gun in the scene, and so I have a photo of him shooting a gun with me and former entertainment journalist Maggie Furlong reacting sillily.
It's a very funny photo
where we're covering our ears and making a surprise.
Perhaps the We Enjoy Podcast Twitter account should tweet out this photo.
Maybe. We'll see if they behave themselves. But yeah, so I'm just saying that Upgrade connects to Dark Blue's miso soup in profound ways.
All roads lead.
All roads lead. All roads are equal. Let's get into Jurassic World, a movie that definitely has some weird problems when it comes to the 2 lead characters. But also overall, I think is a strong follow-up and has some interesting, fun action sequences. Nothing at all matching the magic of the first movie.
No.
But I do think that some of that is by design, because the whole point of this movie is that this is an operational park that is already in its late stage capitalist phase, where it is super dynoing and like creating bigger, faster, stronger, more teeth versions of things because the public's bored and there's all these weird sponsorships. So there's almost a parody element going on here. So like when Claire says, "Welcome to Jurassic Park," it is not meant to be like this moving, soaring, orchestratic moment. She's literally saying it to investors.
Verizon.
She's saying it to Verizon as she exits an elevator.
To try to get them to sponsor a genetically made
welcome to Jurassic World. So everything is sort of is demystified, like in a very purposeful way. I know that leads to a sort of a colder movie overall. But I think that they had an opportunity to make elements warm in this movie. It just didn't work. But that being said, I think the movie succeeds more than it fails, but I do think that there's some glaring weird stuff going on with the 2 leads and some of the other stuff. But
I think it's an easy movie to pull apart at the seams, and it's an easy movie to make fun of certain things. But I will say, I never understood some of the hate it gets, which I think is like a pile-on thing of like, and there's this cheesy thing and there's a cheesy thing. But to me, I'm like, I don't know. I think at a certain point you're fighting the movie if you're like can't enjoy any of the spectacle or any of like cool sequences.
I feel like the outrage, which we'll talk a little bit about now, about Dawn. Is that the character? Who's the assistant? Claire's assistant.
It's got a weird name.
Zara.
Yeah.
The outrage over Zara's death. That I feel like was one of the first. I think it was sort of like Twitter outrage machine in its very first baby steps.
Right.
And like, so everyone was sort of getting in on it. It's like, oh, look what we can do with this scene. We can like be mad about it online a little bit, and we can sort of blow it up more than it actually is and make it silly. We can make it about, this is a dinosaur. Obviously, it's the first female death in one of these movies, but we can make it like we can read into it things that aren't there, perhaps.
Mhm.
and make it more, take this monster movie, which is literally always about monsters eating people, and somehow make it worse. Because nobody complained about the Emil's death in RoboCop. You know what I mean? That was
Right,
over the
right,
top.
right.
But I liked him more than Zara too, so I should.
Right.
All
Yeah. I will mention. I was going to wait till later to mention this, but only because you mentioned with Fallen Kingdom, it's like, what big hits these movies are. This movie was a monster, no pun intended, movie. This movie, when it opened, was the third biggest movie ever. It would a few months later drop to 4 because Force Awakens would come out, but it still remains the 7th biggest movie of all time. Is Jurassic World. In a year, we should mention that was like a crazy year because if you look at the top 10 movies of all time, 3 movies came out in 2015: Furious 7, Jurassic World, and Force Awakens. So, but this movie was just like massively successful. Just smashed that, like, especially for a movie that was designed to kind of reboot the franchise and revitalize it after the 3rd movie had not done so well, and had been a long time.
Chris Pratt was very hot at this time.
A year after Guardians, yeah.
So so the online world hadn't quite turned on him yet.
Oh, not at all.
Yeah.
I mean, the only complaint about Chris Pratt with this movie is that he's not funny and goofy.
That's the thing. It's like people were expecting him, but that's the thing. It's like, I understand you don't want to just be Star-Lord for every movie, but I think also that would have made this movie more enjoyable.
Sure.
In certain ways, this is more of like a leading action man role, but he gets to be a little like, he gets to play like a little, have a Lothario edge to him. The scenes where they're sort of bickering back and forth are very groan worthy. It's also a little upsetting how she always gets to be wrong and he always gets to be right in this movie. And that's that's frustrating. And
it's very old-fashioned and not in a good way.
Yeah, it's like her girl bossness is vilified, not just because okay, let's get into it. We'll talk about Jurassic World, how she's basically gets to be the Alan Grant of this movie, but we allow men to not like children, but women who don't like children or can't instantly relate to children are sort of unforgivable.
Right. And I will say before
isn't it funny how grumpy as Alan is around children?
Right.
While the women in this movie are like, kill them.
Right. I will say what you're mentioning about like sort of the Twitter outrage machine. And again, it's not to say that no one has legitimate gripes, and that none of the people complaining aren't upset about something. It just means how it can become this pile on, and it can take hey, you know what I didn't like about that movie, and turn it into this movie is an abomination.
Yeah.
I will mention
the thing about Zara's death is that people were saying, like, first of all, it was anti-woman. Second of all, it was against a generation of people who are on their phone. Like, that was the other thing. It's like, she's a phone person. Always
right.
She loses the kid because she's on her phone. And so that was sort of people took that as a slight too. And honestly, that is a way. People still use that in horror movies today to make people unlikable.
Oh, yeah, of course.
You're a social media influencer, or if you're doing anything, or like.
But I was going to say that the other funny thing about
podcaster, you're dead, like literally.
That also shows you how times change and people get, the Twitter turns on you, like with Chris Pratt, is that even though I 100% agree that it's very old-fashioned in a bad way, they're dynamic, and a lot of like, I'm rolling my eyes at like, how they like, she's so stuck in the mud, and he's like, the man of the earth. But the person who really amplified this and made a bigger Twitter deal was at the time beloved Joss Whedon, who did a big thread about.
Well, he also reacted to the clip that they showed at the Super Bowl.
Yes,
of them like bickering, and he said like how like this is too old fashioned. Like we're still doing
before
this.
the movie even opened.
So there was 70s. Yeah.
Again, it's that funny. It ended up didn't matter. The movie was a massive hit, but it was funny that it felt like everyone I know, and it wasn't true, but it felt like everyone seems to hate this movie. But I don't think that was ever really true. And I'm not saying if you're
And
listening
again,
to this,
if
if you're
there was
listening to this
ever-
and say I don't like Jurassic World, I'm not saying you're wrong to not like it. It was a little disproportionate. I will say.
It's always disproportionate when a movie
Yeah.
makes $1.7 billion and someone says it's the worst movie of all time.
right,
So,
right. yes, that is true.
but yeah, a lot of the Zara stuff came also where it's like, I can't believe they did this to someone who didn't deserve it. When Colin Trevorrow was like, when he talks about the scene, he's like, we thought it'd be fun to do this to someone who didn't deserve it.
Yeah, and you know what? When I first saw it, I thought that was really fun. How they just killed her so much.
I know, because she didn't deserve it. And if we watch,
right.
and maybe it's just because we've seen so many horror movies where so many horrible things happen to people who don't deserve it.
Right.
Obviously, people who do within the context of our
Yes.
movie minds. But yeah, like, that was the point of the scene, but people didn't enjoy it. So that, you try a thing and sometimes it's not received well. Okay, so Jurassic World, featuring the two Jimmies, the best Jimmies, Jimmy Fallon and Jimmy Buffett.
Yes.
And
both in Meta Universal Studios casting though.
yes, Chris Pratt not being funny the way we knew him to be from Guardians and Parks and Rec, more of a traditional action hero role, but he gets to be right all the time about literally everything. I don't think he's wrong once. And there are some fun scenes. There's nothing that matches the grandeur of the first T-Rex scene in Jurassic Park. Or tries to, I think. I don't think anything really is meant to. We open with eggs cracking open and we see a raptor. Already the promise of raptors is right before our eyes and we know they're coming. And then we've got the kids and we've got Judy Greer, who whenever I see her in a movie, I wish she was in the movie more. Like that's usually the Judy Greer factor is like, why isn't she the lead? Why isn't she more on the screen?
She will get a lot more screen time though, playing a different character also named Karen in a different Universal franchise in the recent Halloween movies. But this was her proto Karen in the Universal franchise.
She's like, I'm going to try out a Karen, see how I feel.
Yes.
And then we've got Ty Simpkins, who had a really strong couple of years here with Iron Man 3 and then this movie, both earning over $1 billion. $1 billion Ty Simpkins is what they call this kid.
And but then of course and he got his start in Insidious.
Yes. And then he gets a small role too in The Good Guys because of Shane Black. Okay. And then we've got the older brother, Nick Robinson, who's in a lot of things.
He is if you love Simon, he is Simon. And also I watched him last year in the FX miniseries A Teacher, where he was the one having an affair with a teacher.
I haven't seen him in anything except, well, it says he was on an episode of Boardwalk Empire and on Bar Guest #2 in Kong Skull Island. So I scratched that. I have seen him in something. Okay.
There you go.
And these are the two kids of the movie. It's an older brother, younger brother situation. And we can tell from the way the parents act when the kids aren't looking that something's going on. They're going to split up. And the dad says like, wait, way to spend a last breakfast or day, or I don't know, something. But they're sending their kids off to Karen's sister, Claire. And Karen's sister, Claire, works for Jurassic World, like a really high-powered position in this company. It's very strange. It's very strange that we find out late. We don't know how long the park's been open, right?
They not in the movie. I think that there's some other things I'll mention that some of the supplemental stuff goes into that. I think it says maybe around 2004, 2005 it opened.
I have no problem with Claire being separate, detached from her family, not knowing how old her nephews are. She gets vilified for that when like Owen's like, you don't know how old your nephews are? Like, no. And I don't expect you to. Families are different, dude. Leave her alone. Like, she doesn't know. She kind of has a general idea, but we learned she hasn't seen them in 7 years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So as far as we know, like there's no communication. I don't know. But anyway, it is weird that one of the kids is super, taking after other kids in this franchise, super into dinosaurs. Wants to talk about dinosaurs all the time. very strange that this kid didn't get invited to like the grand opening of Jurassic World, given and his operations manager, and that he's only seeing Jurassic World for the first time. I feel bad.
And my other issue I'll bring up that's similar in the relation to all what we're saying is that they seem so bummed that Aunt Claire is not taking time to spend with them. But if they don't have much of a relationship with her, and they're at Jurassic World, they wouldn't care that they're like. I mean, maybe
you know how many times. You know how many times I wrote in my notes, why do they care?
Right.
I wrote it like 3 or 4 times because of that. Literally with that scene you just mentioned. They're like, you're not going to go with us? Why do they don't know her.
Right. They don't know her. And even if they loved Aunt Claire, if she was cool Aunt Claire, they're at Jurassic World.
She has to work. So what?
So they'll be fine.
And then sort of like Russian dolling this, like going like deeper with the layers. Then I just get more pissed at the older brother for being like, dinosaurs. And I understand that we're told the kids, no one cares about stegosauruses. They're like elephants. We're told the world is numb to this. And yet we're told that, but these 2 kids are walking around a park full of people super excited to be there and watching dinosaurs. So obviously that's not true. There are still people who really, really want to see these dinosaurs. They're there in the park. They paid a lot of money. I don't know if this is coupon day. They probably paid a lot of money to be there.
Yeah.
And the older brother is being like, won't watch the T-Rex eat a goat. And I'm like, fuck you, kid. Like, I understand that you're a moody teen who is upset and like thinks his girlfriend's too clingy or whatever. But like, seriously, like he's redeemed a bit in the movie because once he sees the Meg or whatever that giant sea biscuit dinosaur is, he's like, yeah, but now it turns out, I guess the dinosaurs weren't big enough for him until he sees like a gargantuan one. Then he gets excited. It's also weird to me in that scene that nobody in those bleachers knew that they were going to sink down and look at the tank. Like, does no one know what they're going to see at Jurassic World? Like, whoa, we're going down.
I mean, because let's face it, there'd be like a million iPhone YouTube videos.
So many people would have filmed the rides and everything.
Right. The Mosasaurus, if I'm saying that right, is the underwater one. Yeah.
We are back on Isla Nublar, so we're using the island from the first movie. Island, that comes into play later when we see some of the original park stuff. But yeah, so they went back to there. They built Jurassic World in a different part of the island. And yeah, it's been running, and we're just told that the public's bored and that they need to make new dinosaurs that are scary. And so like the genetically engineering the Indominus Rex.
Right. And of course,
even though everyone there seems to be really excited about what they're seeing, so.
I can give it a pass on that. In that, look, I mean, this movie is obviously directly leaning even more than the first into existing theme parks. Like the movie's called Jurassic World, is a play on Disney World being bigger than Disneyland. And the idea that as much as people love the old favorites at Disneyland, they still have to give you new stuff every couple of years. So I think that's, the basic idea here. So I can roll with that. An interesting thing here is, of course, meeting Simon Masrani, the guy who's now the CEO, who, again, some of the supplemental stuff tells us how the Masrani Corporation bought InGen. But it's an interesting depiction of him because he went against Hammond. Hammond made him his successor. But he
was like his dying wish, right? Like Hammond, on his deathbed was like, Jurassic World, and like,
well, that's the thing is, like, as far as we know, he didn't change his mind about like reopen the park, but he's not depicted as a like money. Like he thinks it's cool that people can sort of see the grandeur.
Oh yeah. He's got a very Jurassic. He's got a very John Hammond wide-eyed view of what people, it's like, are the people happy? Like that's all he cares about. And he's played by Irfan Khan, who just died a year ago. 1 year ago.
Well, we talked about him when we did The Amazing Spider-Man and how sad it is he died way too young. Yeah.
And then but Simon Masrani is there, like Owen Grady, to be one more dude to keep telling Claire to loosen up.
Right.
And I feel bad because Claire, if we're just going by her character, has had to work 3 times as hard as all the men around her just to get where she's at.
Yeah.
And doesn't have the opportunity to loosen up and doesn't get days off and has to be a sort of a workaholic because that's the way that she, a woman can get into the position she's in. And then all she's got is men around her going like, lighten up, like you're too controlling and stuff like that. So that's more of the bullshit that's just sort of at play with Claire's character, where she's treated like the villain of the movie because she doesn't know the ages of her stupid nephews who are kind of jerks, and passes them off to her assistant even though that they're there. So it's one of those things whereas Alan Grant, it was once funny that he was sort of indifferent to kids or didn't like them or didn't like to. He was an adultist. I think we talked about this. He doesn't like to change the way he communicates with people. He doesn't want to alter the way he communicates. And with kids, you have to do that. You can't talk at them. You have to talk to them. So that means as an adult, you have to change the way that you speak and join them on their level, on their brain level, because their brain is still growing. And some people don't like that. But when it's Claire, then yeah, exactly. People are like, oh, this is terrible. All right,
Claire.
All right. So where are we at? Oh,
well,
so then Masrani's like, Claire, there's another dude on this island who also wants to tell you to lighten up. His name's Owen. Please go talk to him and have him inspect this Indomitus paddock because he's super cool. So, and then I misremembered this completely, Eric, because it's been a while since I've seen this movie. I feel like I've seen it twice. It may have only been once. I don't remember. I felt like they were a couple.
I thought they were. It's funny. I've seen this movie.
I did not know it was one date.
Yeah, I've seen this movie several times, but it'd been a while, probably since Jurassic, since Fallen Kingdom opened. I'd forgotten for some reason. I always remembered it too, that they were a couple and not that they went on a bad date.
Because they're arguing like they were one and not like they went on one date. If you went on one date, you don't act like this.
I know.
It's so stupid.
Yeah, like why not just make them a couple, a former couple? I don't know.
Also, an itinerary for a date sounds amazing. She planned everything out. How thoughtful, honestly. And he's wearing shorts. I don't care. Whatever. They're both in the wrong, but still, I feel like the itinerary wins. Again,
I did want to mention right before we meet Owen, we meet some light comic relief in the movie, which is Lauren Lapkus and Jake Johnson as the two people in the control room. Jake Johnson also adding to he's not the only way they do it, but this movie definitely has a meta quality that, what we mentioned when we did the first movie. The first movie had a meta quality by having the logo that is the movie's logo be the in-universe, like on the merch, on the t-shirts, that we're trying to sell Jurassic Park here. This one goes even bigger because there's a little bit, not Rescue Rangers style, but a little bit of a knowing meta thing about this being a reboot and having Jake Johnson's character say the first park was legit and being like into the first one. And that was the cool one. And now they're doing this big flashy version that, a guy
and he bought the shirt on eBay, which would actually just looks like a Jurassic Park movie shirt in our world, but is a Jurassic Park shirt in their world,
which would be very rare because the park never opened to the public.
It never opened, so it's like somebody smuggled these out of the gift shop that was torn apart by raptors. And there's so we've got little nods here and there. BD Wong is back as Dr. Henry Wu. We've got
that's very interesting, right? The only actor to return
for this
from the original movies is BD Wong, who was only in one scene. He's a very acclaimed actor who has had a long, great career, but he's only in one scene in the first movie. I thought it was kind of cool that they brought him back just because
it's a memorable scene, though.
It is.
He debates with Ian Malcolm. Yeah, like I feel like he's the catalyst for Life Finds a Way, right? So
yep.
And then we've got Mr. DNA popping in there.
A statue of Hammond.
The Hammond Creation Lab. The Samsung, in Imagination Center. I don't know, something like that.
And layered in is, I mentioned this briefly when you talked about the two Jimmies, but there is also a lot of Universal Studios theme park in jokes. One being the fact that it is very obviously based on the idea of City Walk being like this stretch of stores leading up to the Welcome Center, including a why am I blanking on Jimmy Buffett's restaurant? Margaritaville, which exists at both City Walks now. At the time this movie came out, it was only at the Orlando one. So Jimmy Buffett has a little cameo there running later, but even the idea of there being a Margaritaville is an in-joke on Universal City Walk. And then Jimmy Fallon hosting the on-screen video is a direct joke to the fact that when you go on the Universal tour here in LA, Jimmy Fallon pops up, whether you want him to or not.
Whether you want him to or not is Jimmy Fallon's catchphase. Right. And but he gets then even with him, you get the first movie paralysis goo in his face. So
yeah, although they tease the Dilophosaurus, but we don't actually get him.
Well, we get the hologrammosaurus there that saves them from a raptor. Okay, so then we get Owen. And Owen is a raptor trainer. Now, this is an element. So this script was sort of cobbled together from 3 different ideas. One of them was a draft by John Sayles that came from an idea from Spielberg, as there's somebody who's a dinosaur trainer. And so that sort of worked its way into this new trilogy where Owen has been, I don't know what his qualifications were in the Navy that made him like somebody as a go-to for raptor training, but he's been
according to Wikipedia, which means probably again from online stuff like they did, websites that were supposed to be in universe. He's an ethologist. He's a science of animal behavior. He did study, is probably his like bio that they put out Universal on a website.
Well, so there you go. He's learned in this field, and he's been working with 4 raptors, and the standout star is Blue, because it's the one who's not named after like call signs. It was Charlie, Delta, Echo, and Blue. And yeah, he's got a clicky thing. He's not using the hand yet, but he's using a clicky thing. He's able to lead them around. And then Star-Lord versus Kingpin. So Vincent D'Onofrio shows up as Hoskins, who is a InGen like mercenary. I don't know. He's part of InGen's secret project to weaponize trained dinosaurs. And he comes with his own like emergency response squad and stuff like that. And he wants to field test these raptors. And what happens? A guy falls into the raptor pit. Owen runs in, does the hand thing. But it's interesting to note here, the hand thing holds them off. He still has to run out of the cage as they try to eat him. So it's not like friend, No,
I like that he says I don't control them. That it's like they try to limit just how much they will do. I mean, obviously it's going to become a big turning point later.
It does a complete 180 by the end of the movie when Blue's like, I've changed my mind.
No, I think that's more Blue making a decision, Matt.
I said Blue. I changed my mind.
Right. Because every actor in the world will be in a Marvel project eventually. I mean, this movie's got, you mentioned Star-Lord and Kingpin, but it's also got a Gwen Stacy. It's got Bishop from Days of Future Past.
It's got Ant-Man's ex-wife.
It's got Ant-Man's ex-wife and Harley Keener, as you mentioned, from Iron Man 3 and Endgame. So we're all, and it's got Spider-Man, Jake Johnson. So,
yeah, it does. And we need to get BD Wong into the MCU somewhere.
That's amazing. He hasn't been yet. Yeah.
He's in the DC universe. He was Hugo Strange on Gotham.
That's right.
So we've got, Owen does the hand thing. Then we've got Hoskins wants to field test him. He's like, no, of course Owen's right because he's right about raptors. And then we've got him. He's working on his bike, and Claire shows up to ask him to inspect the containment center for the Indominus Rex. And this scene. It's just a bad scene. It's not well done. We've already mentioned it's old fashioned. It's done. And he's like, I just want to drink tequila and wear board shorts. And she's like, I like order and things planned out. And they I'm stuck up. But you know what else? It's the worst. Like maybe the worst moment of this is like, she hates bugs. Like she's on this island. She should be used to bugs. You don't have to make her like freak out about a bug, but then him like catch it like the poison date in Raiders,
right.
It's like I'm so cool I catch a bug with my hand. I actively don't want these two to be together. They're just looking for different things. you know, so it's weird that the movie like makes them like mash together and kiss and stuff. They're just you know, oil and water can be oil and water sometimes. You don't need them to sort of like find weird common ground under intense circumstances. But yeah, it was dumb. Again, it's weird that it was one date because they act like they were previously together for like a year or something. Okay. Then we've got we already mentioned this, the scene where the older brother finally gets into the dinosaur spirit of it all with the what is it, the Mosasaurus eating the big thing. The Mosasaurus will rule.
Well, it eats a shark, which seems like a Spielbergian joke, you know, because it's
Mosasaurus rule of 3. This is the first time you'll see the Mosasaurus. You'll see it twice more, both very impactful.
Mm-hmm.
And then he starts questioning the Indomitus, and we learn more about it. And like it's classified what it's made out of, and it's very secretive. And we know we'll say it right now, it's part raptor, and so it retro explains why it's so cunning and crafty, and it's why it's such a clever girl, why it can set traps, and then
it is the most cleverest of girls for sure.
And we can also, you know, it's a camouflage element, and also its ability to mask its thermosignature, like are explained later with the DNA that it's sort of made out of, but it makes it this crazy killing machine that at first it seems like they pulled a huge bozo no by making the containment unit too short because it climbed out, but no, it was all a trap. It was relying on that one idiot to open the gate.
Yeah, and it lets Owen be the smartest man, I realized, because Owen he didn't even know the Indominus Rex existed, so it's not like he screws up while he's already overseeing it. It's literally like, hey, come over here and check out if we're doing a good job. They're not. So he's like, you're not. This is a bad idea. And then it escapes immediately. He's like, see, right. I just happen to be here when it's proven that I'm right.
Yeah, and so even with like sort of the full introduction of the Indominus Rex, it's not like, it doesn't feel big. Like, I don't know, you know, we're used to Jurassic Park and Lost World.
Well, this movie has Spinosaurus
intros to T-Rex.
Also, this movie has Spinosaurus erasure because they're like, it's bigger than the T-Rex. I'm like, but we saw a dinosaur bigger than the T-Rex in the last one.
That's true. And I do feel like this was at least equal to the Spinosaurus, right? Like,
yeah, I think so. But yeah, you're right. It doesn't go for the grandeur in the same way. I do like the sequence when it breaks out. You know, just some little moments are fun, like when it throws the truck and the guy's just sitting there, like just stuck, you know, sitting with nothing blocking him, and he just gets scooped up by that sucker.
People are getting murdered. The movie pulls no punches with the murder.
The leader of the security force that gets killed, Hamada's the character. He looked really familiar to me, and it's Brian T, who's been in a bunch of things like the Wolverine, but we talked about him we enjoy wrestling, to be precise, because he was the Drift King, DK, in Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift. He was dethroned by your favorite character.
Oh, the Drift King, taken down by the Indomitus. I feel like one thing that stands out to me about the soldiers on the island, it is very strange. I know it's meant for sort of the cinematic effect, but like, why are their bio signs like being tracked? Like, why are their heart rates being tracked? It feels like really unnecessary future tech for it's like to see the soldiers flatlining. How often does this happen? Like, they need to like have an EKG hooked up.
It actually sounds more like someone's like weird, creepy fetish. Like, if anything bad happens,
it's like, oh yes, I need to hear that beep I need to hear the life leave their lips, you know?
Right. I do like the hunk of flesh they find that the Indominus Rex tore out of itself.
It remembers. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It remembered where the tracker was put in. So all these things, I don't remember if in the theater I was like, oh, it's got to be a raptor. I can't remember. It feels obviously, now that we know, very obvious that it's got raptor tendencies. Then we're back. Okay, so now the park's on alert, right? And everyone's debating, and they're like, we have to handle this, like this. And Masrani, this is when he starts to be a little like, no, we shouldn't evacuate. We should handle this. It's still 4 miles from everyone. Let's do this. When this is a very, very sort of slight shade toward corporate owner. Before he was very Hammond-like.
Yeah.
And now it's sort of like, no need to evacuate yet. Let's do this internally. I also wonder if this is almost, if we're talking about Claire and her arc being like, she's got to rescue her nephews, the ones she doesn't remember the ages of, like that'll redeem her. Is this her failing her Alan Grant moment a little bit? Because her nephews are out there. The Indominus Rex is out. It's 4 miles away, but the fact that she's not like, hey, just bring my nephews in for now.
Right.
She doesn't do that.
Also, this is where Owen is like, evacuate the island, and she's like, we never reopen. So
this is her, like, because, Alan Grant makes a very huge shift right when the kids are in danger. He's like, I'm going to put my life on the line. Right. Immediately. Right. Obviously, that's a T-Rex standing 30 feet from him, and this is a different situation, but it does feel like this. I was not on board any of the vilifying of Claire, maybe up until right at this point, where it's like, hey, eventually, obviously, she does try to find her nephews, but at this point, once the Dominus Rex is out and has killed people, this is when you just, hey, or at least find out where they are. Right. Like what they're doing. Are they at Margaritaville? Like what's going on?
Right. There is a good scene. There's a good scene that's also a funny scene because it's doing a lot of heavy lifting here, which is when Masrani confronts Wu, and because Henry Wu is much more of like a heel here. He's only in one scene of Jurassic Park, and he has a healthy debate about bringing these dinosaurs back. But in this movie, he's much more ominous. And, by the end, especially where it's like he's got stuff going on behind the scenes. But, he says, hey, you asked for bigger, scarier, cooler. But then he's very grandiose. All this exists because of me. But also, it felt like two things were happening here that were kind of helping to sort of retcon the past a little bit, but in a way that I can go with. Because, again, Henry Wu was not known enough that I feel like this ruins everything we knew about him, which is one. He really brings up that nothing here is natural, that the first movie had already said that they used other animals to fill in genetic code gaps. Yeah. He brings that up. He also has that line about if their genetic code was pure, they would look quite different, which seems like another big nod to the fact that we know that these dinosaurs don't look like they should look, especially with the feathers and whatnot.
And that literally was like a discovery made in between these two trilogies.
Right. Like, well, we said like by the third one, it was starting to be a theory. So that's why they put the feathers on the feathers. And but then also I was going to say also it feels like a tiny bit, if you want it to be, to maybe try to explain those tiny threads in Jurassic Park 3 of the genetic experiments that went nowhere. That, again, were clearly just script things that went nowhere. That got written out. But I felt like, well, if they're saying Henry Wu was always up to more than it felt like, then you could say he was doing stuff.
He's like, you should have seen my Spinosaurus. It was amazing. Right. This is also where Masrani seems to like not take responsibility for his bullshit. Like, he's like, hey, Henry Wu, make me this monster. And he's like, you made a monster. So
it's too monstrous.
It says not that monstrous. Take it down a few monsters.
This is also the period where we get a cool looking vehicle that is also the biggest bullshit for me as far as like legality and theme parks, which is the gyrosphere being completely independently controlled
by you drive yourself, which is totally bullshit
and cannot be brought back in the case of a full lockdown of the park. Nope, you can just
well, and again, you can just I'm not saying Claire didn't need to like go get her nephews and have them brought to her. If she had just checked to see where they were, she'd know that they were out in the stupid bubble car.
But it feels like I'm like
way closer to the Indominus than she thought.
I wish can they have at least put a line in about we're supposed to be able to pull them all back in the case of an emergency, and this one's not working.
But their doohickey broke, right?
Right.
Also, there's bad cell service here for no reason. Then we learn, there's a sort of a touching moment between Zach and Gray, who are the kids' names, about like where interestingly enough, it's the script is flipped a little where it's the younger brother who's the one who knows they're getting a divorce and has to sort of tell the older brother that, who's the one more in denial. Mm-hmm. And Gray cries and it's very sad, but then that doesn't last long because they're immediately attacked in their little bubble mobile by the Indominus Rex, who's literally right there. Like, so yeah, if Claire just checked, it's like, hey, you're not 4 miles from the Indominus Rex, you're 200 feet. And it bats them around and they go spinning, and it's killing all these other dinosaurs too. And
that's a sad scene.
Okay, well later. Okay, we're not at the valley of the
You're right.
Brachiosaurus.
We're at the part you're talking about is a cool and awe moment, which is the Ankylosaurus, which are the ones that are like turtles with the cool shell.
Yeah, and they ram heads. Yeah,
where the Indominus can't get through that shell, but it just turns it over and crunches down.
Smart. It's a smart shark, Eric. Smart shark. Then okay, so then the BD Wong, Jimmy Fallon. This is when she tries to call Zach, but it's bad cell signal. Okay, so this is when she goes out with Owen. So she actually goes out, and she's like, I'm gonna go get them myself. So probably like a few minutes too late, but she is, on this quote unquote redemption path to care about children, and goes out with Owen, it's good that he's there because he's right about everything. So together, they're unstoppable. Let's see. And let's see. Oh, okay. So the kids are being terrorized by the Indominus. It actually cracks them out of their Cadbury egg.
That's a cool scene. The claw coming through the globe, and then it starts to
obviously not the first time kids are terrorized in a Jurassic Park movie. It's kind of the movie's bread and butter. And they get chased, and they jump off of a nicely, modestly sized waterfall to the point where they can land in the water safely. I would have loved it if the Indominus also jumped down into that water. That would have been an amazing shot.
It would have been amazing, but I do like that it seems to really, because it's looking for them. It kind of goes right to the edge and is looking down, but it does not decide to jump in after that.
It's just like,
What if it jumped in while like holding its nose closed?
It's like, oh, I hate water. Yeah, he's like, I don't want to get my hair wet, my feathers, and
then there's the sad part.
Yeah, then there's a sad part, and I have to. So my personal anecdote is I took Gretel, my middle kid, to see this movie, and boy, did Gretel hate this moment so much so Gretel never wanted to watch a Jurassic Park movie again, and I think.
Gretel and Trish would get along well.
I think
about
turned Gretel off
the really sad scene that she's like, this ruins the movie.
I think it ruined movies for a while.
She's like, I don't want to be feeling this watching this dinosaur movie.
And
I get it's very sad, especially because like we said, because the series itself can't get back that sort of oh my God, grandeur of the first one, especially the second tried to do it a little bit. But this is the closest it comes, not in a grandeur sense, but because it's so like, this is Claire's big moment of like, I've worked with these creatures, but I never thought about them as like these living beings. And kind of connecting with it as it dies. And it's very well done. It's very
I like it. I feel bad that it made Gretel feel the way it did.
I feel bad too.
And that you never can expect like what's gonna hit a kid, and it's the same for us. But also this is where we learn that the Indominus is not eating anything, it's just on a murder spree. So this is even more horror movie than any other thing we've seen in Jurassic Park.
Death, kill,
just on an MDK rampage all over the Isla Nublar. It's a slasher movie starring Indominus Rex, really.
Right.
And then then we get the line also, and this is something that also the Claire character took flack for, was the shoes.
Yes.
And it did bug me. I'll say this during the movie. It bugged me most at the end of the movie when she's running from the T-Rex.
It's a silly thing for sure. It's funny that Owen does mention it and she still keeps them. I also thought it was ridiculously like the pile-on thing kind of became sort of like to an insane degree. But it's silly. She should take.
But also, like break off the heels or do something.
Break off the heels. Come on.
Or like when you're in the original greeting center, the original visitor center, like find an old pair of Jurassic Park boots.
Right.
Find Muldoon's old boots and put
there you go. My favorite.
These are the boots of Muldoon.
If I die, make sure these go look it up.
They have a musk.
Muldoon must.
Ooh, okay. And then so Yeah, so then she doesn't take them off, but then we get to the visitor center, and it's a fun callback. What out of nowhere, the plot demanded that they actually know how to fix up a car because
remember when we fixed a car?
We fixed Grandpa's old Malibu. Yeah, so they get to fix up a Jeep. Even Owen questions that. He's like, "What the hell are they doing here?"
I again, the movie it's winky winky, and again, this was something that some people were annoyed by. I'm not annoyed by it. The sort of the meta in joke of it all, like in joke. It's like he literally picks up part of the banner that's sort of one of the most iconic shots in movie history, the banner falling in front of the T-Rex roaring, but then he burns it. It's like, it's not precious to him. I like that. I'm cool with that. They do the winky winky. He picks up a pair of goggles that were the same kind.
I don't mind any of that. It's on the same island. If they didn't do this, I'd be pissed.
Right.
Like, if you're not going to do it, put it on a new island. Like,
right.
Okay, so then we've got they're kind of just a few steps behind the kids at all times. The kids take off in a Jeep, though, leaving them there.
This is also, though, around the time when we learned that Hoskins wants to use the Raptors to kill the
He wants to use the Raptors to track down, and there are 4 of them. He thinks that they can swarm and attack the Indominus Rex, and it's also will double as his precious field test that he wants so bad. He sees an opportunity. Hoskins, not a great part. It's whatever. It's fine. It's sort of the human villain of this, who doesn't sabotage anything. He's just an opportunist. He has InGen is the villain, really, because InGen is the one creating the Indominus Rex and is the one who wants to train dinosaurs as weapons.
Right.
He's just there as a representative. So but yeah, there's really no sabotage. The destruction here just came from the fact that raptors are smart. That's the only reason this park fell, is that raptors are smart, which we learned in the first movie. Nobody learned since then. All right. So where are we at? What happens next?
This is where we're at the aviary. We're at
so this is when Masrani and tries to think he can shoot the Indominus Rex from the helicopter, but the Indominus Rex freeze the pteranodons. I realize, I think in the last episode in Jurassic Park 3, I kept saying pterodons.
Yeah,
but it's pteranodons.
Pteranodon. I did the same screw up. But there's a second one that I had to look up because
there's like a T-Rex head.
Yeah, that's a real. Again, this is all.
I just assumed it was a Henry Wu specialty. I didn't know.
Well, not only does it feel like a Henry Wu specialty, but its name sounds made up because it sounds like it's from Power Rangers because it's a Dimorphodon. But that is a real dinosaur as far as ones that have been researched, and it has that scary little T-Rex head on the flappy wings.
I still don't think that's actually real. It might be like wiki real, but I don't think it's real.
I will say, by the way, I only watched the first season of Camp Cretaceous. Cretaceous? How do I say that? I never
Cretaceous.
Say it right. Cretaceous. Thank you. I don't know why I'll never get it right. Anyway, the first season of Camp Cretaceous runs parallel to this movie because it's about these 6 kids that are at Camp Cretaceous is like a camp that kids can stay at for a few nights. And the movie is happening during the first season. And at one point they see the helicopter crash, and it's a cool little moment.
Wow. So it's kind of like the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. when Winter Soldier happens.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Okay. So then we get a really great middle part of this movie with the Pteranodon swarm Universal City Walk.
And it becomes like a full disaster movie type thing in a way that they've never been able to do.
This is now, 25 years later, the promise of this entire franchise, which is a park full of people being attacked by dinosaurs. It's not happened until now, and now it's finally going down. And the Pteranodons are attacking people, pecking people, carrying people off. In the case of Zara, carrying, dropping, submerging.
One drops
in water,
her, another grabs her,
until there's the always a bigger fish moment when the Seabiscuit eats everyone. Yeah, I don't see anything wrong with this. It's all a horror movie. This is all a monster movie.
I said, it's escalation. It's full disaster movie. this is it. Like, like you said, it's kind of the promise of the whole idea of like, if this is a theme park of dinosaurs. And this is really like the one and only time they're gonna be able to do it. Because if you haven't seen the other movies, guess what? They don't keep being about reopening the theme park.
And also, and also it's interesting because what you mentioned about like, the world is obviously sort of a Disney takeoff, but also a promise for this new trilogy, right? Like,
right.
Well, it's not, the park is called World, but the world will become the world too. Just remember, everyone out there, everyone who dies in a monster or horror movie doesn't have to deserve it.
Right.
I know that we're up at a slasher era where it's like you're supposed to hate the teens because they're like they usually do something dickheadish or stupid that make you want them killed off by Jason or something. But to true horror form, a ton of people who don't deserve it get awful, miserable deaths.
Yes, for sure.
That's how it works.
Also, the second most upsetting moment of this movie, I don't know how Gretel held up, was when they're attacking the petting zoo. And
the poor little Triceratops babies. That was bad.
No, the Triceratops babies alone.
I hate Dino on Dino crimes, and that's this whole that's this whole movie. So the Pteranodons like take off like the Indominus Rex's flying monkeys and just attack everyone. It's a fun visual seeing them swarm out of the forest. It's swarm over everyone, and basically there's no going back at this point. Everyone just needs to like huddle in a safe area and wait for fairies to take them to freedom as they treat their wounds. I don't know how many people died. Maybe the second movie says so.
It seems like
basically at that point it's all about Claire and Owen swooping in to save the kids.
Right, which does lead to my least favorite, my most annoyed I get with the portrayal of Owen and Claire and the old-fashioned dynamic.
The kiss.
No.
Oh.
It's actually a line of the kids, which Claire saves Owen, and she has her badass moment where like she shoots, the pterodon, or did I say that right?
Pteranodon,
Pteranodon, that's right. We're both like to leave out one little part there, syllable. She shoots it, and the kids are like, "Is that Aunt Claire?" Then they try to get to safety, has more people are pouring in and more dinosaurs are flying in. And that's when Owen goes in reverse in the Jeep. And then that's the part when they're like, "Can we stay with you?" And she's like, "I'll never let you go."
No, with him. Yeah.
No, with him. I'm like, wait, but you just saw her kill one of these things. He did drive in reverse, but she did the more impressive thing. You saw her save him. Why are you like,
well, I think you forgot when these two fixed up Grandpa's old Malibu.
Sure.
They're really into cars. So like when he drove backwards, they were like, "Holy shit!" Yeah.
This guy's. It's funny because later on, that line would be justified if it was later after they see him on the motorcycle and stuff. It just felt like oddly strange after they just saw her have her big badass moment to be like, "Yeah,
we want to stay with you, Owen. I bet you know how old we are. We just met." Yeah.
You'd want to hang out with us at the park.
All right. Okay. Then we've got Hoskins' dream come true, which is using the Raptors. And at this point, this is the only point where Owen's like, "All right, this is dumb, but let's do it." Like he's in on it. He doesn't realize that the Indominus is part.
He is told this is happening with or without him,
and so he's going to do it. And we get the poster moment of like him going in with the 4 Raptors on a motorcycle to kill this Indominus, but also like they're tracking the Indominus. The soldiers are going to be there too. So the Raptors are there to find it and maybe attack, but then they're also supposed to like blast it with actual weapons.
And Owen's like, "Do not shoot my Raptors."
Forgot to mention the first time they were going after it with non-lethals too. So now they're trying to kill it, but everything goes haywire when the Raptors in a heel turn, or actually they're just a Raptor turn because they're all Raptors.
Yeah, I will say I appreciate both that Owen says he doesn't control them, but also that he tells the kids when they say, "Are they safe?" and he says, "No, they're not," which is directly setting up what's about to happen, but also just seems more believable than he's like, "These are my buddies and nothing will ever go wrong."
I also like the fact that not everyone can do the hand thing because Hoskins tries eventually.
Right.
He just bites his arm off.
Oh man, is he going to teach Alan the hand thing?
He can't because of what happened to Hoskins. Also, Alan doesn't need it. He's got the throat whistle.
All right, he better bring that throat whistle. We'll find out.
I swear, I'm setting myself up for one of those like fan anticipation letdowns that's no one's fault but my own, but where it's like if he doesn't use the raptor throat
You got a
whistle in this
holster
movie,
for the whistle.
oh, and he like twirls it like fucking like
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
fucking Doc
Pulls it
Holliday
like
in Tombstone.
Batman
Yeah,
pulling
he's
his like grappling gun off his belt. Yeah.
all right. And then he's some reason he also has Billy's lucky strap. I don't know.
But those assholes, even though Owen said don't hurt my raptors, but then of course the raptors turn on them and one gets blown up by the Hoskins crew.
And then one gets blown up later by the Indominus. I think it throws it in a window and it explodes. I don't know why.
Well, it lands on a grill, which it seems to the grill
still
seems to be the grill. Yeah, the grill seems to be set to its highest possible. Yeah,
the grill's set for nuclear. I don't know what's happening. It is funny. Like it's almost like I get that it's hot and there's fire or whatever, but and there's gas probably, but it's just funny where it's like could have thrown the raptor into a park bench and it explodes. Like, oh yeah, our raptors explode when they're thrown.
You know what would have made this whole sequence even better? If they played Epic by Faith No More.
I feel like the Taking of Beverly Hills maybe have to be a main event or a bonus episode because I've never seen it. I remember when they were trying to make Ken Will an action hero. I obviously remember the commercials and trailers for this movie back when it came out, but because that's when everything was Die Hard. But yeah,
Matt and I
had no idea that Faith No More.
Yeah,
music.
We just found out this week, thanks to the magic of Twitter, that the 1991's Taking of Beverly Hills uses one of our favorite bands, Faith No More, in a giant, what looks like the climax of the movie. What looks like the final. Like,
I hope it's the first 15 minutes. But yeah.
Yeah.
I also had that one actor who was in the Lorenzo Lamas show. Was it Renegade?
Renegade. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So then Wong gets evacuated, and he's like, "Where are my assets?" And Hoskins in chart. Oh, what did I put? Oh,
you said.
Well, I was doing the actor's name. Yeah. BD Wong is evacuated. Because I think I went through with my notes, not knowing the character name, and I just kept writing BD Wong. And so I was like, I'll look it up afterwards. They're in the Hammond Discovery Zone. I can't remember what it's called, but they're in the lab. The kids are looking at tiny little gene spliced creatures. But this is when a raptor this is a very weird like scene where it's like Hoskins is like has a big speech and then a raptor just runs in.
Right.
It's like, hey, how you doing? And then like as if no one closed the door. I don't understand. Like they walk into the Discovery Center. I guess we know they can open doors, right?
Yeah. He's like, hello, clutch.
Kills Hoskins, and now they're all on the run for their lives out of the Hammond lab, and hologram, as we mentioned, distracts the raptor for a second.
There's also there's something I meant to mention on the first two movies, but I'll mention it here because I don't think the third one did it. But one thing I admire in all these movies with the effects being so great of the dinosaurs and whatnot is, and one thing that makes ILM and the greatest effects guys always a notch above is there's a moment in this movie, and the first two did similar moments, where the Velociraptor leaps through a window when it's chasing them, but he like slips and falls. He doesn't like land cool. He like slips and falls when he crashes through the window, and it just makes it like a lot more believable as creatures than we're used to in a lot of these movies.
Oh man,
like,
yeah.
like...
And if they start landing like Iron Man, we're stuck.
Right.
Just that superhero punch down the Superman land.
Yeah. Well, that's coming.
All right, so but then we got Send a Killer to Catch a Killer, where Claire has the idea, and finally a Claire idea, not an Owen idea. Release the T-Rex. Great crowd pleasing, fun moment, like
big moment.
Open paddock 9, and Lowry is still there. Lowry gets not just a lot of screen time, Jake Johnson, but also she's always calling into Lowry and saying his name over and over again.
Yes.
He lets the T-Rex out, and
this is
monster fight.
This is the T-Rex from the first movie, which is not explicitly said, but it's got the claw marks from fighting the raptors at the end of the first movie. Yeah, and they purposely, it's like the T-Rex is conspicuous by its absence in this movie. The one time we see it is when it's being fed, but we still don't see it fully to make it this big moment, a big hero reveal of the T-Rex coming back. And
there've been a few T-Rexes since this T-Rex. There's been the one in San Diego. There's been the two in Lost World. The one that gets killed by the Spinosaurus in Jurassic Park 3, and then back to the original, back to the beach. And basically, this movie has a lot of product placement, not just with whatever that car was they were driving toward the beginning,
Right.
but because essentially it is City Walk and these two dinosaurs are fighting inside a mall. It's just like
Brookstone, Starbucks,
Pandora Jewelry. Yeah, like
Yeah.
all these stores, because it's like a food court fight
Right.
between these two giant monsters.
And it becomes Kong and Godzilla must team up against the greater foe, because it's all going to lead to the dinos that ended the first movie fighting will team up, not literally in the raptor's case, because Blue was not that raptor, but Blue
species wise.
But species-wise, is going to team up with the T-Rex against their common foe.
And Blue makes the decision to not kill Owen and to let him.
Blue has
gently,
a looking back and forth between Luke and Emperor moment. Of
he lets Owen caress his face,
yes.
And he's like, "Well, I got to go with Chris Pratt's dreamy gaze."
I do that too. Don't misgender Blue.
What did I say? He? Yeah. She Blue. I think it's because I keep thinking of my boy Blue from.
Oh no, same here. I always want to reference that. Yeah.
And then attacks. Well, at least attacks the Indominus enough. Gets on the Indominus's back, chews it up so that it doesn't land the killing chomp on the T-Rex.
Right.
Gives the T-Rex enough time to recover. T-Rex attacks. Then it's a 3-on-1 because the Seabiscuit comes out of the water and eats the monster too. Good stuff. I like the dino fight at the end.
Oh yeah. It's fun. It's fun stuff. It's like, how are you not entertained? There's a bunch of cool dinosaurs fighting for our entertainment.
And also it's like we were wondering like what the like legal ramification fallout would be from the first movie. It's like we leave this movie being like, fuck.
right.
Like, this is a lot. Like this is like thousands of lawsuits. Like what is happening here? Like who died? What went wrong, aside from the soldiers and the billionaire owner, like who's to blame, what's going to happen. So it's all this.
Will Starbucks and Margaritaville be dragged into this?
It's like, was it their fault somehow? Right. Is Jimmy Buffett get in on the class action suit, or is he did
he die because he's on the island? He has his cameo grabbing his 2 drinks when the dinos fly in. So did he make it off?
I'd like to think that he died the way he lived, which is promoting his Margaritaville blender, which is a great blender, by the way.
Maybe the Camp Cretaceous kids find him. I didn't keep watching.
Oh yeah,
you
never finished it. Maybe
he's like, because the whole thing eventually the show becomes about how they're stuck on the island because they didn't make it to the ferries in time. Well, maybe he's there too. It's like
if he died, it's his own damn fault, to quote his own song. So we end with the T-Rex. On top of the park, on top of the, I guess, like the
control
center hub.
Yeah.
Going like, my park, like
this is my world.
This is my world now.
Yes.
Finally a T-Rex world.
After, I guess, I don't know, I don't know if we're supposed to think that their parents are going to stay together. Is the second movie that has a weird like parental, thing in the background, but whatever. The main characters have some issues here, but like you said, it's an entertaining movie. It delivers. I see why it was an international hit, because audiences everywhere will enjoy seeing the spectacle of it all. It gave good dinosaur.
It gave good dinosaur, not great character.
Yeah.
Sort of unnerving, aggravating moments, but overall enjoyable movie and highly pleasing to the world at large because it made a shit ton of money.
Yep.
All right, let's get into what is it next week? Fallen Kingdom, the follow-up. What year was that? How long?
2018.
So 4 years.
These were 3. This trilogy was going to be 3 years apart until COVID delayed the new one. This would have been 2018 was Fallen Kingdom, and we were supposed to get the third one last year.
And it critically, is it the lowest of the Jurassic movies, or is 3?
I think 3 is.
But this is right after that. Yet it didn't. I mean, it didn't make as much as the first one, which is fine, but it still made a.
It was still a massive hit. Yeah,
big hit, and I'm curious to see what COVID does to the new one. Though the new one, the final one, has the original 3 returning. I know Fallen Kingdom brought back Goldblum, but now we're gonna get Neil and Dern.
I stand corrected. Jurassic Park 3 has a 48% on Rotten Tomatoes. Fallen Kingdom has a 47%.
So this by 1%.
Right. But there's a lot more reviews for Fallen Kingdom, so your samples are a little off.
Also, the next one is not Colin Trevorrow directing.
Right. Although he was still the guiding force behind it. Like he was still producing and actively involved in the story. But
it's sort of like what they did with, well, yeah, it's not actually only director swapping wise is what they did with the new Star Wars trilogy, where it's like, because Trevorrow is back for Dominion. But J.A. Bayona.
There's a whole thing there that Trevorrow was supposed to direct Rise of Skywalker, of course. We didn't really mention Trevorrow except to say that it's interesting that I've never seen any of his non-Jurassic movies, but he is very much of the MCU playbook as far as like acclaimed indie movie director.
Oh yeah, because he only did the Jake
movie.
Johnson movie. Yeah, he worked with Jake Johnson on Safety Not Guaranteed.
Right. And then it's that MCU thing of like, hey, you did an acclaimed indie movie. Here's 150 million to do like a giant, tentpole thing.
I know he was the topic of a lot of online discourse when his movie, The Book of Henry, totally bombed.
One day I need to see. Why? I'll watch both of them. Curious.
Well, it's supposed to be terrible, and it bombed.
Yeah. Well.
Okay, I didn't know you were actively seeking out bad movies to watch.
No, but I want to see if it can live up to how much people say it's terrible, because I have a feeling I won't think it's as bad as people are making it out to be. That's my theory.
Also, it's interesting to note, I can't remember what was happening at the time. But he at this point was sort of like pulled out of the rabble as a quote unquote mediocre white director who gets all these chances and so on, and is able to make this movie while women sort of toil and languish and can't get a foot in the door and stuff like that. Something zeitgeisty was happening at the time. Maybe it was Me Too, maybe it was certain things. He wasn't accused of anything. I'm just saying, like, this movie bombing brought to the forefront, who is Colin Trevorrow?
Right. But it's weird because his other indie was so well liked. Yeah, it's
I'm just saying, like, whatever happened with this bomb specifically brought it just wrong bomb, wrong time.
Right. Which is a great title. But yeah, it's all. We'll talk more when we go into the next one, I think. But yeah, just about Trevorrow and like the whole Rise of Skywalker of it all, because it seems like Book of Henry is a reason that he got taken off of Rise of Skywalker. Would it have been better? I don't know. It's complicated, guys. It's all complicated in Hollywood.
Oof. All right. So until next time, everything is possible, but nothing is real. And none of these monsters are real. So says Dr. Henry Wu. Nothing's natural here. And Shakma.
It's all beautiful. Shakma.